Hi, welcome back to the Counterfeit Emotions podcast. I'm Curtis Morley, and I'm an emotionologist. And thank you so much for going on this journey. And today, I am so excited because I have two dear friends here in the studio with me, Adam and Brandy, and they are amazing. We're going to talk today specifically about suicide prevention and all the aspects around that. And if you know someone that is struggling right now, or if you're struggling right now, this episode is for you. And please make it all the way to the end because we want you to understand how important this topic is and that there's hope. So, Adam, Brandy, thank you for joining me in the studio. It's so good to see you guys, and I just love you guys.
We love you too, Jinx.
Hey.
Are you guys married?
Right. Thankfully, yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. So for people that I know, a lot of people know what Promise to Live is, but for people who don't know what Promise to Live is, give us the quick overview of how did it get started, what's its purpose, where is it going, all this stuff. I know that was like 12 questions all in one, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, our mission is this. Promise to Live is saving lives by getting people to make a promise to reach out for help if they ever struggle, connecting them to trusted tools and resources, and building a community of connection online and in person. This is so important to me because I'm a mom who almost lost a child to suicide, and not once, but twice. And, it was the first time because of the shame and the stigma and everything. She was 12. We didn't talk about it. And I thought we were going to be okay. And 2 years later, we were not okay. And thankfully, her friend had the courage to call 911. We got her in time. But it's been a process, being in the hospital and begging God to save her and to give us another chance. And he did, thankfully. And then getting her to make a promise that if she ever found herself in that dark place again, that she'd reach out for help. And there's a lot of power in a promise. I think it's one of the most powerful things we have. There's a reason you promise to be faithful and you promise when you're in court. Studies show that if you actually make a promise ahead of time, you're up to 60% more likely to keep it when it counts. So what we're doing is, we ask everyone everywhere, whether or not you're struggling. And this is my first plea to anyone listening or watching is promise this moment. If you ever find yourself in a dark place and you don't want to be here, you have to promise that you will reach out for help. And that can be to a friend, family member, resource, 988. And you might not think you need it, but we all need it. And sometimes we don't love ourselves enough to want to stay, but we love the person we're making the promise to, or we want to honor our word. So I would ask you to make a promise, and I would ask you to ask others if they're struggling and get them to make you that promise too, because it could save their life. And I can't even tell you how many stories I've heard just this last week, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so important. And I don't usually do this, but I got to talk back to the camera because the website is promisetolive.org. And on there, go make the promise. Like hit pause, come back to the episode after you're done. Promisetolive.org. Go right now, make the promise.
Yeah.
And because we need you. We need you. And I wish my friend Jerry took the promise.
I'm sorry. That's why we do it. We do it for Jerry and everyone else out there.
Yeah.
We were at a funeral yesterday, Curtis, of one of our dear friends, the former jazz bear, John Absey, right? He passed away, and we were sitting next to a friend who will remain nameless. And I actually had to juxtapose this because the week previous, when I found out about John's death, my family was at a funeral of my friend's son, who was 20 years old, who took his own life. And John fought with every fiber of his being for nearly a year to find a way to live, a way to stay. And one ended so easily, this beautiful life that was had so much potential, and the other one fought. And as he got buried yesterday, we sat there and we had a friend sitting next to us, and that friend told you what, Adam? Because when we talk about promise to live, this isn't just a slogan. It's not just something we say. Like, it means something. There was a guy who will remain nameless, but he sat by you, and he told you what at the end? He told me the same thing. He said, I'm alive because of Adam. I'm alive because of you guys. And do you want to share with them what that looked like? How you were able to save his life?
One of the things that I tell everybody is you don't have to have any answers. You don't need to know the right thing to say. You don't need to know the right resources. You just need to sit next to him and love him. And he called me one day and said, hey, things are hard and I don't know what to do. I said, well, I do, because I love you. And while I say I know what to do, what I know what to do is just to be with him. And if it's sitting on a tailgate having your favorite drink, if it's sitting on a couch for us, he came over to the house, a lot of hugs, a lot of tears, said a few prayers, told a few bad jokes, and got through a really hard day. He had a gun in his house, and it's just one that he used for plinking around with friends. Nothing serious, but that came to my house, and it sat in my safe. And it made things at his home comfortable enough that he didn't have those worries, right? The temptation was gone, or at least the accessibility to the temptation. And then anytime he called, it was, hey, I'm having a hard time. Well, I hope you still know today that I still love you today.
There's a framework that I'd love to share too.
Yes,
it's called
please.
ASK. It's called ASK. If you're struggling, ask. If somebody else is struggling, ask. And that stands for acknowledge, support, keep in touch. Because everybody goes, what do I do? What do I say? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not a clinician. Neither was I. All you have to do is ask. And it sounds something like this. Hey, you acknowledge what the situation is. I know you got a divorce. I know you lost your job. I know your loved one died. You acknowledge whatever it is that they're going through.
The pain.
You acknowledge the pain. You just call it out and say, I know you're hurting. Are you okay?
Yeah.
You acknowledge and you ask.
And I think that point is so critical, because there's so many people that have this stigma that if I ask, are you okay? Are you thinking about suicide? Are you in this frame of mind? That will kick it off. That will be the catalyst that then they go do something. And the research says the opposite.
Absolutely.
The research says, ask them, are you okay? Are you thinking about suicide? Is this something that we can talk about right now?
Honest questions get honest answers. You will not plant an idea. It's like, oh, no, I wasn't suicidal, but thank you for saying that. Maybe I am. Either they are or they aren't. And people will be shocked. So I tell them, ask point blank, are you feeling suicidal? Have you thought about hurting yourself? But when you notice something, even if it's a coworker or your kid, hey, I know you've been bullied. Are you doing okay? You're acknowledging something that's hurtful to them. And then the next one is support. Again, you don't have to have a PhD to ask. You support by saying, I'm really sorry, Curtis. That must be hard. I'm sorry you're going through that. I can't imagine how that feels. All you're doing is next acknowledging their pain. You're supporting them in that and saying, I'm really sorry. You don't have to solve it. And then the K is keep in touch. Would you call me tonight? Would you check in with me tomorrow? Can we go to lunch? Can we go for a walk? Can we get together? Can you text me every day? That's it. So if somebody is struggling, or if you're struggling, ask, acknowledge, support, keep in touch. And if they say they're struggling, 988 is a 911 for mental health. You can call or text at any time and just say, hey, I'm struggling. I had a call on the way over here today. My nephew is really struggling. They're in Texas. What do I do? Call or text 988 and ask them about resources there. Go to promise2live.org. We have resources there. And that was the one thing I couldn't find in the hospital. Where do I go? Who do I trust? What do I do? And so we created it.
Yeah. And I would love to hear the story. Like, why promise? Why? I know the statistics and everything, but what was the catalyst behind you saying, I want to do something? What is it? And then you came to this idea, let's have people make a promise. Like, you could have done so many other things. Why that? What was the catalyst there?
Isn't it interesting how sometimes you end up in places you never would have imagined? I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that Promise to Live would exist, that we would be doing this. But so I'm at the hospital, and I did the most vulnerable video. My background, we both served in the military, both veterans. I was a broadcast journalist, public affairs, had a lot of friends in TV, worked in TV. But on the night at the hospital, where I actually had even volunteered for 7 years at a different hospital, I did spiritual care. Nobody dies alone. It's way, way different when it's your loved one sitting there, especially your baby, And I did a video on my social media sitting out in the parking lot at Primary Children's, and it was the hardest video I've done. And I just said, I need help. I'm here as a parent. I don't know if my child's going to get through it. If she does, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. And I know some of you have been through it, but I don't remember who, and I need help. And that video got 12,000 views overnight. And I had hundreds of messages from people saying, I've gone through it. I've lost someone. And I was just blown away. And I got back to the hospital, and my phone rings, and it's a call from NBC News. And they said, we saw your story on your social media. Will you share it? I was so frustrated by that. I lived that world for a long time where if it bleeds, it leads. And, but when, again, they're coming after you, it's a different story. And I was just like, are you kidding me right now? They said, will you share your story on the news? I'm like, I'm at the hospital. No, I won't share my story on the news. How dare you? And I felt insulted and hurt, kind of. But it was that same day I was begging God for a miracle. Like, please save her. Help me know what to do, how to get through this, because I don't know. And I heard a voice, and it just said, Brandy, I'll give you a second chance. There will not be a third. What will you do? And I was like, God, if you save her, I'll do anything. And it was like, anything? And I said, anything. And it was literally like within an hour, she woke up fully functional, which was awesome. And that's when, I made a promise to God. She woke up. When she woke up, I made the promise, and I went back to work, and I own a video production studio, and I was just like, I'll help all the nonprofits, whatever I can do. And then I started finding that there were just things that we needed more of. And I was like, okay, I'm going to work on that because I'm not finding it. If I can't find it, I'll build it. And it was interesting. That's how Promise to Live began. But what I thought was interesting, I had to get my daughter to make a promise, and I knew she didn't love herself enough to stay. She tried to kill herself twice. But I said, promise for me and promise for your little brother that we adopted. Like, he loves you, he needs you. And if you don't want to live, do it for us. And it took almost 5 years, 4 or 5 years. It was about 4 years after that. We were having a very hard conversation about taxes, politics, adulting, all the things that everybody hates, but especially a 17-year-old at the time who was just graduating a year early. But she just stared at me, Curtis. She stared at me for a while, and I was thinking, she probably thinks I'm, dumb mom, an idiot. What is she going to say?
Teenage mindset.
And she looks at me and she goes, Mom, I can't wait to get old like you. And I teared up. Not only because she called me old, and it did hurt. I was like, dang it, the gray, the wrinkles. But no, you know what? It was the first time she said she wanted to live and saw a future. And that's really what Promise to Live is. We want you to stay until you can find that hope and find your future and find that next step, because it comes. Even our friend Joe Tuiana, I love you, bro. Love him. Talks the guy off the bridge. 3 years later, that guy who didn't want to live gets married. Like there's hope, there's tools, there's resources. We need you. We love you. There's a community. And I promise you've gotten through every hard day. You can get through this hard day. And if you need our strength, take our strength. If you need to promise for someone else till you can promise for yourself, do it. You're not alone. If you feel alone, you're not alone. Maybe your family doesn't support you. Maybe you don't feel like you have friends. Well, guess what? At Promise to Live, you have a community. We're here and we love you, and you reach out to us and we got your back. And that's one thing Adam's so good at.
Yeah, I've noticed that with Adam. He's so good at that.
He's our official hugger.
It's the CHO, Chief Hug Officer.
Chief hug officer. I was raised by a bear, and so I learned good hugs at a young age.
Yeah.
And to go along with this, something that people maybe they know but don't say is that secrets have power, right? And that dissolves as soon as you share that with somebody or talk about it out loud, and then you realize how united we all really are. It really brings us all together in that we're all going through things that are similar, or we have the same emotions through similar experiences, and we find strength together.
Yeah.
And we can get through it. And that's, people just need to be heard.
Yeah.
Well, the world tries to divide us and deceive us, and so does the adversary. Create contention and make you feel like you don't matter, or it's not worth it, things are too hard. Those are all lies. Those are lies.
It's such a lie. That lie that I don't matter. That it's not worth it. I can tell you firsthand. I have a Jerry-size hole in my heart. It does matter.
It does.
It matters so much. And there's not a day that I haven't missed him. There's not a day. And it does matter. Every single person matters. Everyone. And this idea of, no one will remember. Nobody cares. The world's better without me. No.
That's a lie.
It's a lie.
And nothing you've done is so bad. No failure should be fatal. It should not be. Whatever it is you've gone through, done, felt, there's always hope. There's always redemption. There's always whatever it is. I've met so many people who've lost a spouse or a child or a parent, and their worlds fall apart. People have to know, again, if you're thinking about this might be an option, one, I say take it off the table right now. It's not an option. I mean, I think about this. I run in business and with a lot of executives and entrepreneurs. If you lose your job, do you think automatically I'm going to go rob a bank? Is it an option? Yeah. It's a terrible option. Ending your life, people don't want to kill themselves. They want to kill the pain.
That's it.
Take suicide off the table as an option. It's not an option. Don't make it one. Remove it right now and just say that's not a choice. It is not a choice, because the amount of pain that is left behind for everyone else magnifies. And the odds of the people you love now dying by suicide because they can't cope with your loss goes up exponentially, like 60 to 80%. I know a mom who lost 3 of her sons to suicide. I know 3 generations that were wiped out in less than a year. The grandfather took his life. The grandson found him, took his life. The father found the son, took his life. 3 generations gone. And the amount of destruction and pain and tears, nobody's ever better off without you. That's a lie.
Ever.
Fight. Find hope. There's lots of resources, and we have them on our site at Get Help. And you can find resources, and sometimes it might take a while and it's not easy, but there is hope. And I think that, we can speak freely. You're a friend. This is no nonsense. I attempted suicide at 12. I knew what to look for. I missed it. People say to me all the time, Brandy, what should I look for? The only thing you're looking at is probably your phone. So don't ask what you should look for, because I missed it and I even knew. Ask the question. 2, a lot of us struggle with a lot of things. I mean, is it fair to say you've struggled with your mental health?
Oh, absolutely. So I was in law enforcement when I lived in Phoenix. I joined the Army. I've been diagnosed with PTSD to the extent that the PTSD has given me a heart condition. I've lost friends in the line of duty. I've lost friends that have killed themselves. I've lost all the things in all the ways. And I absolutely struggle with, am I enough? Do I do enough? Would anyone care? That still is going to cross your mind. Um, and I acknowledge that it's there, and then I put it in its proper place where that's a lie. That's not what it is. And so I absolutely have struggled with mental health for a long time, in a lot of ways.
Can we share something? Are you okay with it?
Sure.
Sometimes people get into situations with relationships or whatever it is, and sometimes they feel like there's only one or two choices. And he was in a situation in his life, and I know we meet with a lot of people who are in relationships that are really hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes you think the only option is end my life or get a divorce. What's going to be better for children? And sometimes you make choices, and in those moments you think, like, if you travel back in history and you sit through those moments where you thought your only option was a terrible option, if you could see your life 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, I mean, being from where you were in your situation and the choices you thought you had to where you are today, what would you say to somebody who's struggling,
Yeah,
who's maybe having to make that?
what would you say to Adam 10 years ago?
What I would say and what I've learned is that your capacity to feel hurt grows your capacity to feel love. You can only feel love as deeply as you can feel hurt. So if you're going through something that is more than you can bear, then what's coming is something so beautiful and so wonderful that it's going to overflow your heart with joy and love, and if that elusive peace, which is the greatest, right? You will have something in your life that is so beautiful, you could not have recognized it before, but you wouldn't appreciate it or have it unless you've gone through what you've gone through. It expands your capacity to feel and love, and with that, your capacity to give to others. I think that's something that anyone who's been through the ringer wants to give back. They want to mentor or love the next person that's going through it so that they can feel that hope, to get them through those few minutes or that month or whatever, wherever they're at. I can help you and lift you, and I will be your support, because when you're on the other side, what's coming is so wonderful, you couldn't receive it. You wouldn't appreciate it. You wouldn't recognize it unless you've gone through what you've gone through. And so when they say the other side is better, it's not better. It is so magnificently greater than anything you can physically comprehend right now, because you're expanding your ability to feel and receive that. So that's what I needed to know. That's what I would tell myself, is that this is the growth, and what's coming is beyond compare.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that analogy. Like a balloon.
Like a balloon.
The more it's filled with feelings, the more capacity you have to feel both the joy and the pain, the love and the sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
The more you have. But if you try and minimize the pain, which is on one side of the balloon, and you shrink that balloon into those feelings, you say, no, I'm not going to dig into those feelings. It shrinks, but you don't see the other side of the balloon, which is joy, which is love. It's not you're shrinking just the pain, you're shrinking your ability to feel. And that's what's so important, is to expand that. And is it going to hurt? Yes.
Yeah.
Life is going to hurt. It is.
Well, and as a way of offering hope, is that if you're going through pain, you don't need to take it all right now.
Yeah.
You can take it in doses. My mom said you have to eat your vegetables before you get your dessert. You don't have to eat the whole meal in one bite. It's a process, and it's piece by piece. And then at a certain point, it's gone. And it's done, and it's worked its course. It's passed, and now I get the dessert. Now I get to go on to things that I want and things that I enjoy. And that it's, yes, it can be hard. Yes, it hurts, but it's not all at once.
Yeah.
It's an easier process with somebody, but in manageable doses.
Yeah. And we're not alone.
You're never alone.
You're not alone, and you're not unique in your pain either. The one thing that I was reading a report by the World Health Organization. They said that 1 billion people are struggling with mental health right now. 1 billion people. It's not a you problem. It's
No.
not a, oh, this is just me. I'm this horrible person. Everybody else has got it figured out. No,
It's an us thing.
it's an us. And the fact that we can relate, the fact that we can share those experiences and touch each other's hearts, that's so beautiful. And if you think that you don't have that to give, you're wrong. You
Mhm.
do. It's
Well,
so beautiful.
And the thing about Promise to Live is we need you with us, because your capacity to love and your circle of influence are people and places that I can't go. But you can. And so together we can reach everybody.
Yeah.
We can get to everyone and let them know that it's okay, that we are in this together, that us.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry it alone.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And it's okay to talk about it. It doesn't make you weak. It's actually a sign of strength to be able to say, I'm struggling. I can run a multi-million-dollar company and still struggle with mental health, or still have family members that are struggling. It doesn't make me weak, less than. It makes me mortal.
Yeah.
Part of the human experience that we're all going through. But we're working so hard. And this is one of the things I love is we invite you and everyone within your circle to join us at Promise to Live. You know, once you make your promise, it's the number 2, live. And it's twofold. It's promise to live. The first one is for you. The second one is to get everyone outside of you. It's the next one. It's the next one. And so, you know, we have our pocket hugs that we've done. We've given out over 100,000 of these coins, and these are tangible tokens that you're loved. And it's fun because today I got to see the lady who kind of inspired this thing. A friend sent me a letter. One word that changes everything. You're a word guy. Is really. So we say, how are you doing? Fine. But if I say, how are you really doing? Or how are you really? You give somebody permission to truly share. And he has a childhood friend, Bernadette, who messaged me, or she sent me a card, kind of out of the blue. I didn't even really know her. She sent me a card. She goes, Brandy, I watch all the stuff you're doing. She goes, but does anyone ever check on you? How are you really doing? And she sent me this generic coin that said pocket hug, and it said, here's a hug from me to you. And that was the nicest thing, because sometimes we don't think to check on other people who look like they have it all together.
Yeah.
And it meant so much to me that, one, she cared enough to reach out to me directly, that she sent me a coin. I carried it in my pocket for several weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. And every time I touched it, I was like, zing, you know, I felt like I'm loved. Somebody cares about me. This is cool. It's a hug. You know, it felt something. It warmed my
and
heart.
The cortisol.
It did. It was like, this is cool. And I found myself all the time just having it in my pocket and just hanging on to it, grasping it, holding, playing with it. And every time I touched it, it made me feel loved. And my friend's son passed away. I had already spoken at her daughter's funeral. And then she asked me to speak at her son's funeral. And I was getting ready to do that. And she was really struggling. And I was struggling too. And I was like clasping the coin in my pocket that Bernadette sent me. And I reached in and I said, Kathy, I want you to have this coin. Somebody sent it to me. It meant a lot. It's a pocket hug. And when times are hard and you need a hug, here you go. Hang on to this. And, you know, she messaged me a week after the funeral. That was a very hard day, bearing her second out of 3 children. And she messaged me a week later. She goes, Brandy, I have to tell you, that coin got me through the hardest week of my entire life, when I thought I couldn't get up, when I thought I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't function. I felt like you were there. It gave me comfort. It gave me courage. It gave me strength. And I was like, wow, it did that for me too. So I came back and I was like, if it did it for her and it did it for me, could it do it for you and everyone else? We've given out over 100,000 of these Promise to Live pocket hugs. And our goal this year, which is pretty huge, but doable, is 1 million hugs for hope. We want to give away 1 million hugs for hope. And we ask people, when you make the Promise to Live, you get a coin to keep and a coin to give. So you can find those online. And we're also launching our digital pocket hug that people will be able to find and send. And on the 10th of every month, we invite people to disconnect, unplug and hug. We're more connected. We have more friends than ever, but do we really have friends?
Yeah.
Do we really have connection? The Magic 8 Ball says no. And so what Promise to Live is doing is we want everybody to disconnect from your devices on the 10th of every month and go take 10 minutes or more and just go let people know they matter. Go ask them to make the promise to live. Let them know you care. Give them a coin, a digital or one that we have. And then on September 10th, World Suicide Prevention Day, we do our big show in LA, in Hollywood. It's so fun. And
so fun.
This is where we hope to reach 1 million hugs. And we have singers, celebrities, influencers. And why do we do all that? So we can deliver hope, healing, resources, and tools to people wherever they are, the devices and platforms they use, through the people, speakers, celebrities, companies that they already trust. And you've been a part of that.
Yeah.
We shared Counterfeit Emotions because we love that program so much.
Yeah, it was such an amazing event, and so many people logging in and sharing hope.
Yep.
That's, and I love that, the idea of sharing hope, and also the other side of the idea of sharing pain. Like, before Jerry took his life, he would come over to my house, and he'd gone through a divorce just like I had, and we'd sit on my couches and we would just honor our pain together.
Yeah.
And there were a few times where I know Jerry was thinking about it, where he didn't take his life because he knew he had someone to share the pain with, to honor the pain with.
Yeah.
And I truly believe, just like he said, no one wants to end their life. They want to end their pain.
And they don't know how to do it.
And they don't know how to do it. And yet there's so many people around them and that have the ability. And so just like he said, just reach out, keep in touch, give them a hug. I've given away dozens of pocket hugs.
I love that.
Dozens and dozens. And it's so fun. It's like that meme on social media where the guy has the sign, need a hug, and people walk up and they're like, yeah, I need a hug. It catches people off guard. And it's so fun to give them a hug, a pocket hug, and say, there's somebody that loves you.
I love it. I do it in the drive-thru. People think I'm crazy. I think it's hilarious. I'll be in the drive-thru, get my order, and then I'll say, hey, can I give you a hug before I go? And they're just like, lady, you're crazy. You're in the drive-thru. I'm like,
in your car.
And I hand it to them, and they're like, what? And they read it. And I said, this is a hug from me to you. They read the back. It says, when times are tough and you don't know what to do, here's a hug from me to you. Call or text 988. And they're like, this is so cool. I said, I just want you to know that you matter and that the world's better because you're in it. You're loved. In case nobody's told you, you're awesome and I love you. And they're like, how did you know I needed that today?
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't know, but I know.
Yeah.
Like, we all need it. It doesn't matter who you are, how cool you are, how rich and famous, or whether you're experiencing addiction or homelessness. It doesn't matter. We all need to know that somebody cares and sees us and that we matter. But then I just say, okay, but make me a promise. Yeah, what's that? Promise you'll reach out for help if you struggle. Can you do that? That might be the only person that made them do that. And then I'm like, go hug everybody else. How many are in there? And I give them the pocket hugs. And it's just so fun to see. And people come out to the window and give me a heart sign. I'm like, I love you guys. I say it all the time. What? If we can hate for any reason,
you can love for any reason.
And I love you. And I think that that's what the key to all this is just letting people know that we're all in this. You're loved. You might not feel lovable or like anyone loves you, but we do. And there is help and there is hope. And sometimes we don't know where to go. So we've been trying to put that together. Our daughter tried to end her life 5 days before her appointment. We waited 3 months for. And so that's part of our mission is we want people to find hope and resources and tools 24/7, free of
Yeah.
cost, anytime you need it. And we're working with partners for AI therapy, self-guided therapy with Blomquist Hell, Eliza Chat, peer support, telehealth. We're really working to put all these pieces in one place so there is no excuse that we can bridge the gap. But the number one thing you could do is talk about it. Share a post, make the promise to live and share it on your social media. Let people know you're a safe place.
Yeah.
There's a story last week. I don't know if you want to share it. We spoke at an event and a community leader came up to me.
Which story? We get a
The
lot
guy,
of people that tell us good
we have a
stories.
lot of stories. So a guy got one of our pocket hugs maybe in the last year from another friend. And he's like, I took it, and I made the promise and I had it. And I've never struggled. I'm a successful business owner. I don't have mental health issues, never been an issue. Everybody comes to me. I got it together. I'm a leader. You look at him, he's very well known in our community. He said last week, the darkness hit and I was ready to end my life. And I was making a plan and I was getting ready to leave my house with the intention of never coming back again. And he was sitting at his desk and looks there at his desk and there was the pocket hug, the promise to live pocket hug. And he said, I saw it there and I picked it up. He said, and when I picked it up, I felt something. He goes, I remembered the lady who gave it to me. I remembered the promise. He said, I read it. And I sat there and I thought about my choices and what's going on. And he goes, I just held on to it and I picked it up and I brought it out the door with me, still not knowing if I was ever going to make it back home. And then he just gave me a big hug and he said, I'm still here this week. Thank you. And that for me meant everything. Sometimes we just have to get through that moment or that week. And I let my friend know who gave him the coin. I said, hey, I messaged her. I said, I just want you to know what happened. And she started to cry. And she goes, how did you know I needed that today? Her father just died. She was going through some hard things. And she needed to know that what she did mattered. So promise to live isn't just about giving the coin out and mattering to that person. It's about us mattering.
And the ripple.
It's the helper's high. It's doing good. When you notice, when you're a part of it, like I have to do something because it helps with my mental health. And if you're struggling and you know what it feels like, then you can be the one reaching out. And so I loved that. That's kind of one of those stories. And a lady just a little bit ago, she goes, my brother-in-law took his life and I called my friend in Chicago, I think. And she goes, there's an organization called Promise to Live. She had just called somebody in the Midwest and they go, oh, Promise to Live. And she was at my event. And I just thought that was so cool that we're starting to know.
Yeah.
We want people to know. We want Promise to Live to be, the Red Cross for mental health. We want people to think about Promise to Live because we don't have ego. We don't care who gets the money. I just want you to live. I am so thankful to God for saving my daughter and giving me 5 more years that I might not have had. Then I don't want anyone to not have that opportunity. So if we can provide a coin, a resource, a tool, and put it all in one place, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to keep doing that till the day we die because I'm just so thankful. And not just for my kid, but for yours and your spouse and your parents. And we'll just keep fighting.
And you made a promise to live to God, that you're going to live this mission.
Yeah.
That your promise to live is to live this mission.
It's amazing how it changes everything. Can't imagine doing anything else now. I did not want to talk. So I'll just tell you this. 2 weeks later, back to the full moment. NBC calls me back 2 weeks later after they first asked me to speak. And they're like, Brandy, will you please share your story? And I was like, oh gosh, I made Heavenly Father a promise. Now they're asking me to do it. I still did not want to do it, but
Mhm.
I was said I'd do anything. I was like, oh, come on, not that. Anything but that. And I reluctantly did this interview on the news, on the night news. And I said, if you're watching right now, stop what you're doing and go check on your loved one and ask them point blank if they're suicidal. Honest questions, honest answers. After that story aired, a father reached out and he said, you just saved my daughter's life.
Mm.
I said, what do you mean? He said, I watched your story on the news. I went to go check on her. She had already written her suicide note. We're at the hospital. And then the next morning, I got a message from a family who said, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing. We talked to our 15-year-old son. He confessed he was going to end his life this weekend. We're getting help. There's 2 that I know of. Just by me opening my mouth, an untrained mouth, but a mom that loved her kid and made God a promise. And I'll continue to open my mouth every single day and talk about this to say, you're not alone. We need you. Promise to reach out. There's help. There's hope. And you are loved. That's what we do.
Yeah. And go right now, hit pause again, come back, but hit pause and go ask your teenager. Go do it. Do it right now. Because this is the question that needs to be asked. Don't be afraid of it. Hit pause, come back. We'll still be here. But come back and just make sure they know you love them. Just make sure they know. Ask them the big question. Do it.
Yeah. Ask.
Yeah. And one thing that I think, like, if we look at the science of the pocket hug, there's something really important, because the pocket hug, it does something. It does a pattern interrupt in the brain. When you touch it, when you feel it, when that tactile sensation happens, it does a pattern interrupt. And we only need 90 seconds. So here's my hourglass. And right now there's 90 seconds worth of sand right there. The average emotion only lasts 90 seconds. If we can make it past 90 seconds, then we get into what's called the refractory period, where we get to make a decision on that, where it's not overwhelming, where it's not, this is too much. And we can say, okay, now I can make a decision. Am I going to turn this into my mood, or am I going to just act instead of react?
Mhm.
And at the end of the 90 seconds, then we have a different perspective. We look at things a little differently. And that's that's part of what the pocket hug does. It gives them 90 seconds to think, or more,
Right.
and says, okay, you know what? I'm going to think about this for a minute. I'm not going to let the emotion overwhelm me. I'm not going to make a rash decision. I'm actually going to think about this.
Mhm.
And that's so powerful. That's so incredible that little pocket hug does that, because 90 seconds, it's not that long.
90 seconds is not that long.
It's a minute and a half.
We had a really cool story from a Vietnam veteran too. Do you want to share that one real quick?
Yeah. we had met his wife at an event, and she took a pocket hug home and had her husband, make her a promise and gave him the pocket hug. Now, in the military world, we have challenge coins. And so it's not uncommon for military people to have coins in the pocket because they're memorable. There's somebody you've met, or an event that you, or a campaign you were a part of, or whatever. And it reminds you of friends that you've had and experiences that were meaningful. And so she gave him the coin, the pocket hug, and he made his promise. And she said it washes very well. She said it's every day, it's in and out of his pocket. It's on the nightstand, or in his pocket, or on the nightstand. And she's washed it a few times. Holds up very good in the wash, for the record. And the one day the demons got the best of him, and he had been drinking. And he left the house and said, "Kay, I'm gone. I'm not coming back." And she didn't know what to do. So she stayed up all night praying and worrying and having the night that you could expect she would have. And in the morning, he came walking in. And she was relieved and, of course, very happy to see him. And he said, I am only here because I made you a promise and because of this damn coin. And so if we can get this damn coin into everybody's hand, and like you said, it's got great texture. If you've never touched one, it's got great texture. It's got a smooth side. It's got a rough side. I'm a fidgety guy. I like it. The way I ask and I present this to people is it's an easy way to have a hard conversation. It's a good icebreaker. And when you tell the person you love, I love you, and you mean something to me, let me be your dad. Let me be your friend. Let me be whatever. Make me the promise that you'll reach out. If it's me, and I would love it to be me, let me be that for you. If it's someone else, please promise that you'll reach out to someone else. Give them a real hug. And the secret to a good hug is you hold on until they let go.
Yeah.
No matter how long that is. I've given some long hugs. I've given some very short hugs. I've been told, don't touch me. Like, there's always that moment. But if it's the person that you're having this conversation with, a hug is usually welcome. Give them a hug and then put this in their hand. And like you said earlier, when that time comes, if that time ever does come, and their minds and emotions are elsewhere, physically they have something to touch that brings it back. It anchors them. It brings you back to your body. It brings you back to reality. And it brings you back to the moment that person told you they loved you. And that memory is anchored in this coin.
And the promise you made.
And the promise that you made. And it gets you through the 90 seconds, the 9 minutes, the whatever it is. And it's something that has real power.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And then we just make it one more 90 seconds.
Yeah.
We keep pushing. We keep going through that. And like we talked about, there's so much that is on the other side. There's so much on the other side. And if we look at the research and look at, why do people get to that place? Why do they get to the place where they're considering the last option,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't see any other options? And one of the things is that people with addictive behavior are 640% more likely to take their lives. And because they feel solo, they feel like, this is it. I don't have any other options.
There's no hope.
And there's no hope. Yeah. And I believe that hope is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. That hope is truly an energy that can't be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to plant that seed in people. And the idea of helping them out of whatever their pain is. You talked about it earlier, Adam, about secrets. And addictive behavior is, most people think, oh, it's the drugs or pornography or alcohol or whatever it is. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the shame underneath that. And shame has 3 foods. Shame loves to feast on silence, secrecy, and judgment. And if we can remove that, if we can get rid of that shame and open up and share, you know what? Yeah, I looked at pornography, or yeah, I went on a bender and, got totally drunk this weekend, or whatever it is. Share that with someone and remove that shame. Then all of a sudden, there's more options. There's not just one. There's a whole lot more options.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you speak about things, you start the conversations, you stop stigma, it saves lives. One of the gals at an event I just did, she said, I spoke about my mental health 8 years ago and me struggling and an attempt. She said, a lady just reached out, one of my friends I haven't talked to in years. And she said, I'm struggling. Can we meet and talk? She goes, I talked about that 8 years ago, but she felt like I was the only one that she felt safe enough to talk about. She remembered that. And I get it nonstop because I talk about it. So talk about your feelings, talk about what you're struggling, what you're dealing with, because one, It makes you human, and it makes other people feel like they can be human with you and share that with you. And I just think that that's so powerful, again, to bring things to the light. They lose their power when they're not hidden in secrecy and shame. Bring it to the light and have the conversations. Do the work.
Yeah. And at Counterfeit Emotions, we are so honored to every cohort of men that we take through the pornography recovery program to offer them a scholarship from Promise to Live. We're so honored.
We love that. Thank you so much.
you-
I mean, you know, and I know, and all of us know that suicide is the final straw for a lot of problems.
Mhm.
Addiction, trauma, trafficking, whatever it is that you're dealing with. And that's why it's so important that we all work together
Yeah.
to say if somebody's struggling with addiction, it doesn't matter what that is. It could be eating, exercising, pornography, alcohol, drugs, whatever that addiction is. If we're working together and we can help fight that, then we
Yes.
bring the hope that you're talking about, the light, the love, and we're able to save lives. So that's what we're so grateful to partner with you and to bring people through the program. And we've had a few people come through now, and I love what you're teaching. And part of the conversation we had with our friend is somebody who went through the program, and he said that this last year fully changed his life 100%. And he said, I would not be here today if it were not for you, Adam and Curtis. You changed me. You changed my life. When you're not holding that ball underneath the water, waiting for it to explode, you can deal with trauma and grief and life's blows because you know how to now process it and you don't hide it. And you cry with your buddies and you call your buddies and you talk about your stumbles. That's what you've done for our people. I love you for that. I thank you for that. And I need you to know that the work you're doing and the work we're doing is saving lives. And that is everything.
Oh, I need one of these Kleenexes.
I love you, Curtis.
Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that we get to save lives together. That's what it's all about.
People talk a lot about ROI in Silicon Valley, Silicon Slopes, and in the world today. It's like, oh, what's your return on investment? I was thinking a lot about that yesterday at a funeral, right? And it's like the ROI for this guy was in love, lives reached. The ROI for me that matters more than anything in this whole entire world is people. How many people know they're loved because we exist?
Yeah.
Because we work to let them know that they're loved. How many people choose to stay or choose to help or find joy? That's my ROI. That's the only thing we get to take with us, too.
Yeah. Glad I held it together. I almost ugly cried for a minute. I was almost.
Well, you know what? That's great. You're like, feel your emotions. Feel your emotions. I think that's important too. We try to hold it in all the time. Let it out.
Yeah.
Well, and something that being a part of this work that has really come to light for me is people want to be there for each other. They want you to make the call. I want to receive the call from my kids or my friends.
Yeah.
I want to be given the chance to do that.
It's not a burden.
It's a joy.
It's a joy.
It's an absolute joy. Is it hard? Yeah, it can be really hard. But it's a joy to be a part of that with somebody and to feel that they love me or trust me or that they are obligated to me to make that call. Okay. I am so happy and grateful to receive that call so that I can be with them. And so, when you're having that hard time, you think you're a burden. Oh, I'm a burden. I don't want to unload all this or share this, or I don't want to bring them down, or those are thoughts that are very common, very frequent. And it's the exact opposite. The truth is, they want to get that call. I want to be a part of your life, even if it's the hard part. I want you to call me. And my heart, how to say this the right way, is full of love. And it's not a happy, wow, they called me and whatever. It's a hard day. It's a hard thing. But I am so full of love and so full of hope because I'm having this conversation, this hard conversation. So if you're in that moment and you're thinking nobody wants to hear from me, no, they do. They absolutely want that call because it's hope. You're giving them a chance to give you their love, to be a part of this life with you. It's said that nobody gets out of childhood unscarred, and that's a fact, right? That's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's true for adults in life too. We don't go through this without getting bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
Let me be that. Give me that chance to love you.
And we'd rather speak to you now than speak at your funeral.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't give.
Yeah.
To have Jerry on my couch again, crying and laughing and honoring the pain together. What I wouldn't give. It was never a burden. It was never a burden. It was always so much love. And I would give anything to have that one more time.
And that's why what you're doing right now, allowing us to share this, is so important, because you're giving Jerry a voice. We're giving loss a voice, and we're saying, we're here. It's okay. Let's get through this. And who knows how many people Jerry and you are able to save.
Yeah.
And you'll see him again. We know that.
We know that.
And maybe he can help us from the other side, get some of these messages out to the people who need it.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that.
I want to share one last thing, if I can, too. Just a thought I had. A lot lately is people are stressed. We got a lot going on. And it's a phrase I share often: choose kindness, give grace, lead with love. And this started for me a few years back, going into work, working with a guy, shows up late. He's being a real jerk to everybody, had a big attitude. And I was pretty upset with him. And I went off. And as I walked away from him, my anger got more and more and more. And I thought, I'm going to go tell him off. And I went over to go tell this guy, you're being a jerk. What's your problem? I walked over to him, and as I got close to him, I felt the Spirit say, don't. And so instead of saying, Mike, what's your problem? I said, Mike, are you okay? And he started to cry. He teared up and he said, no, I'm not. I said, what's going on? He said, today's the anniversary of my wife's death, and my 3 little kids were having a really hard morning, and it was very tough. And he starts to cry. I start to cry. I give him a big hug. And that, for me, like, again, people listening, going through challenges, dealing with distracted drivers, dealing with short people in line that are, just a lot of us are going through a lot of things. I just want to say to people, if you have a chance today, tell yourself this: choose kindness, give grace, lead with love. When you feel like giving somebody a piece of your mind, give them a piece of your heart and see the difference. I had to show up for some of the biggest presentations of my entire life while my daughter was in the hospital. Nobody knew what I was going through, and I had to put on a brave face and show up and present. And I just think, 7 years of Nobody Dies Alone and spiritual care, people would turn off life support and then have to go to the grocery store, go in the parking lot, drive home. Everybody's going through something. We need a lot less judgment and a lot more love. And so whatever you're going through, think about that, and think about the person driving distracted in front of you. Think about the person in line, and just give them some grace. Lead with love. You'll never regret that. Make a promise to live and live a life that brings love to you and others.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we've been talking now, it reminds me of the one emotion that can't be counterfeited, and that's peace. And I would love to know where Brandy and Adam find peace.
Go ahead.
There are probably 3 places that come to mind. I've got a chair at my house. That's my meditation chair. And when I sit and meditate, and I usually have a thought or a prayer, and I sit and ponder on it, the answers to the universe come to me, and I are the answers at least that I need in my universe, and I find peace there. I go to the gym. When I think we're made of 4 parts: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And when they're in balance, I think it's much easier to find peace. And I think where it's fastest and easiest for me to find peace is giving somebody a hug.
Hmm.
And it's not in the first 2 or 3 seconds. It's after you've taken 1 or 2 breaths and can relax. And there's real peace for me in just that simple connection. There's no words. It's just a simple hug. That's where I find the most peace.
I love that. Thank you.
My initial answer is I find peace in Christ. There's always peace in Christ. No matter what it is that we're going through, feeling, He's our Savior for a reason. That's my number one thing, is finding that in Him. And I think also service, loving others, reaching out. One thing that I had been struggling with a lot over the last few years was worrying about what people think, worrying about, and it causes, uneasiness and contention. And finally I had a thought that came to me, and it's, don't worry about what people think, worry about what God knows.
Hmm.
And when you start to live a life in truth and purpose, and when you live every single day as if it could potentially be your last, because none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. And they say one day you're going to be right? So I try to live every day with no regrets. I try to live every day with love. I genuinely might tell myself 10, 20, 50 times a day, Brandy, choose kindness, give grace, lead with love, choose kindness, give, let it go. Let it go. Don't sweat the small things. Let those go. Focus on the foundation: love, God, relationships. Those are the things that matter. All the little noise doesn't matter to me. I just saw too much. I think when you deal with life and death things, little things don't matter so much anymore. And so I don't worry about what people think. I worry about what God knows. I live every day as if it's potentially my last. And I try to love people all the time and give them grace. And that, for me, brings me peace. Because I'm excited to go whenever that is. And I don't have regrets, because genuinely every day I try to give my best and let people. One thing Adam said that really resonated with me this year is he said, I want people to know God because they know me, or because they spent time with me or were with me. And I want that too. I want people to feel loved. And I think love is God. I want them to feel that because they were with us, and that's what we feel, and that's what we want to radiate.
I feel that. I feel that. I feel that every time I'm with both of you.
It's working.
It is.
Yay.
It's working. Thank you so much for having such an important conversation and sharing this with all the listeners on the Counterfeit Emotions podcast. It means so much to me. And go right now. If you haven't already done it, I know you have, but if you haven't, go to promisetolive.org. Make the promise. Find a way to give a hug. Ask your teenager if they've thought of suicide. If you're struggling with pornography, go to counterfeitemotions.com/recovery. And if you sign the promise, then you're eligible for a scholarship. If not, come join anyway and be part of that recovery, be part of the change in your life. Because when you do, you can find the one emotion that has no counterfeit, and that's peace. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.